Symbology of the Bible, Volume 2. The Ark. After Yahweh defeated the Philistines, with his host, instructing David to go forth, after he heard the host of heaven moving above, David committed to make a place for the Ark of the Covenant. 1 Chronicles 15 verse 1. And David made him houses in the city of David, and prepared a place for the Ark of God, and pitched for it a tent. 1 Chronicles 15 verse 4. And David assembled the children of Aaron, and the Levites. 5. Of the sons of Kohath, Uriel the chief, and his brethren, 120. 6. Of the sons of Merari, Asaiah the chief, and his brethren, 220. 7. Of the sons of Gershom, Joel the chief, and his brethren, 130. 8. Of the sons of Elizaphan, Shemaiah the chief, and his brethren, 200. 9. Of the sons of Hebron, Eliel the chief, and his brethren, 80. 10. Of the sons of Uzziel, Amminadab the chief, and his brethren, 112. As we have seen, there can be a meaning behind numbers, just as with symbology. There were 6 chief Levites chosen, and each family had a different number of brethren available to minister to the peoples. If we sum the numbers of each chief Levite, we arrive at 862. Each digit in that number has a meaning. We have seen some of these before, but for 8, the symbology is a new beginning, and 6 is the number of man, flesh, and lastly, 2 symbolizes division. The number of man being 6 and God's being 3 gives another meaning to the number of the beast, a man becoming a god, or more accurately, thinking they can, and trying to do so. So, is there anything to be said about the number 862? Going with the numerology, we can say that this age was a new beginning, and man was divided from Yahweh. Looking ahead, we could also say there will be a new beginning for mankind in a new house. There is another occurrence of numbers of people that is interesting. 1 Chronicles 14 verse 3. And David took more wives at Jerusalem, and David begot more sons and daughters. For now these are the names of his children which he had in Jerusalem: Shammua and Shobab, Nathan and Solomon. 5. And Ibhar and Elishua and Elpelet. 6. And Noga and Nepheg and Japhia. 7. And Elishama and Biliada and Eliphalet. David had 13 children at Jerusalem. This is the number of the tribes of Israel. The Levites, although scattered among the children to minister to them, are one of the original 12 tribes. Their distribution is shown on the map below. However, Joseph received a double blessing from Israel, and his 2 sons became 2 tribes, which means that 2 tribes replaced the tribe of Joseph. Thus, there are 13 tribes in total. David, the ancestor of Joshua, had 1 child for each tribe. It can be proposed that when the New World was colonized, the original 13 British colonies were 1 for each tribe. Since we are here, it may prove fruitful to look at the list of names of his children.
Shammua, renown. Root, stun, devastate, amaze, stupefy, astonish. Shobab, a tempest, devastation, storm. Root, to rush over. Nathan, given. Root, give, add, apply. Appoint, bring forth, bring hither. Solomon, peaceful. Root, safe, well, happy, prosperity, peace. Ibhar, choice. Root, to try, select, acceptable, appoint, choose. Elishua, God of supplication, a compound, El plus to be free, safe, God's Savior. Elpalet, God of deliverance, a compound, El plus escape, primary root, deliver, God will deliver. Noga, brilliancy. Root, glitter, illuminate, shine. Nepheg, a sprout. Root, spring forth. Japhia, bright. Root, to shine. Elishama, God of hearing, a compound, El plus hear intelligently. Biliada, Baal has known, a compound, master, husband plus to know by seeing. Eliphalet, God of deliverance, a compound, El plus escape, primary root, deliver, God will deliver.
A devastating storm will rush over and bring peace. The one appointed as God's Savior, God's deliverer, his light will shoot forth and shine bright. Hear God with understanding. You will know when you see your husband that God will deliver. I come in the volume of the book. It is amazing that just digging to the root of the Hebrew, we can discover the message everywhere. And it is interesting that Hebrew is a right-to-left written language and English is left to right. His sheep are on the right and the goats are on the left. We have movement away from Yahweh and then a return to Yahweh. This reflects the whole purpose of this age, rebellion and then gathering back. The topic of writing direction was touched on previously, and it was proposed that the transition from right to left to right began with Greek writing, and this is generally accepted.
English writing was derived from Latin writing, which was derived from Greek writing, and Greek writing was written from left to right. From www.childrensmuseum.org.
However, the author did not continue. Greek derived from Phoenician, which was derived from Proto-Canaanite, which was essentially the same as Proto-Hebrew.
Proto-Canaanite is the early Bronze Age linear alphabetic script used in the Levant from roughly the 17th to 11th centuries BC, serving as the direct ancestor of the Phoenician, Hebrew, and Greek alphabets. It evolved from an adaptation of Egyptian hieroglyphs into a system where individual symbols represented single consonant sounds.
Also, there is an omission of fact. Archaic Greek was written in both directions, and at some point, the direction changed to left or right only.
The Greek alphabet and writing system that was developed in Greece about 1000 BC is the direct or indirect ancestor of all modern European alphabets, derived from the North Semitic alphabet, via that of the Phoenicians. The early Greek alphabet was written like its Semitic forebears, from right to left. This gradually gave way to the Boustrophedon style, and after 500 BC, Greek was always written from left to right. From www.britannica.com.
Was there a purpose for the change? Was it just convenience? A source previously cited gives a rather simple answer.
Later on, the Greeks used papyrus to write on, which was what was used before paper. Writing from left to right on this medium enabled the writer to see what was written without smudging the ink.
Writing right to left does not imply smudging the ink. Lifting the writing instrument off of the substrate to examine the writing does not smudge the ink. And scribes, especially charged with making copies, were for the most part meticulous. So we have to ask, can a human or humans write an entire volume of books in Hebrew where at any point a message can be found at the root of the words? A message repeated over and over, destruction of the wicked, salvation of a righteous, and a picture of the reality underlying that message. The picture of the former age, where certain ones rebelled and wished to usurp the power or technology for themselves, this flesh age, where we demonstrate if we will be a goat or a sheep, and the coming age, where this flesh age ends, and those who receive the mark of the Lamb receive a stone with a new name, a new beginning. The above discussion has brought to mind Esther. She was an Israelitess in Persia after the Medo-Persian alliance conquered Babylonia and became the Persian Empire, ruling from Ethiopia to India. There also exists another book of Esther that has additional material beyond what is in the canonized KJV book.
According to eBible.org, the Greek version of Esther, found in the Septuagint, contains 6 editions, not found in the Hebrew version of Esther, that is in most Bibles. These additions to Esther consist of a prologue, prayers by Mordecai and Esther, the texts of the decrees, from King Ahasuerus, amplifications to, and elaborations of, the narrative and a postscript.
The book NROT does not contain any apparent reference to Yahovah, and so many believe the other editions were inserted to correct that. However, Yahovah can be found in the Old Testament book of Esther, Esther 1 verse 20, and when the king's decree, which he shall make, shall be published throughout all his empire, for it is great, all the wives shall give to their husbands honor, both to great and small. The Hebrew for this verse, according to the ISA point 3, is below. Bullinger in the Companion Bible suggests to examine a 4-word sequence indicated above, right to left, as the Hebrew flows. The first word begins with He, the second with Vav, the third with He, and the fourth with Yod. In the English alphabet, they are H, V, H, and Y. Reading the Hebrew letters in the words left to right it is YHVH, which is Yahovah. Bullinger states that there are at least 3 copies of the Masorah, where these specific letters appear in larger font than all the other letters, as shown below. If this is a true replica of the Masoretic text, it can be seen that they indeed are a larger font, and this suggests they are for a specific reason, to show the name of Yahovah in the book.